Welcome back to Canadian Justice, where we're discussing the rise of anti Semitism in Canada. Now, one of the things that I find incredibly frustrating is when I call out anti Semitism that I see, people will often say, oh, this isn't anti Semitism, this is anti Zionism. And I think it seems like people have very different definitions of what Zionism is. Some people, like me, take it to mean the support of the right of the state of Israel to exist and for the Jewish people to have a homeland. Others define Zionism as support for West Bank settlements or support for the war in Gaza specifically, or even support for the political leadership in Israel right now. I mean, how is this fight over the definition of the meaning of Zionism masking actual anti-Semitism, Professor Kogan?
Right. So I think we have to understand that, we actually have done, surveys, representative surveys, and I point to the work of Robert Brim at the University of Toronto. When you ask people, Jewish Canadians, what they mean or what they understand Zionism to be, the word has been so sullied and distorted actually by anti-Zionists that people have trouble with it. But fundamentally, there's a common understanding among 94% of Canadian Jews, and that is that the belief that Jews have a right to self-determination in some of their ancestral homeland, and that is Israel. And the connection, as Richard was talking about, is very strong. It's part of our identity, our cultural identity, our religious identity, with a common language and a common set of values. So I think what is happening is the anti-Zionists are distorting what Zionism means and using a tactic which is to employ a variety of libels, distortions, misinformation about Zionism, calling it Jewish supremacy, calling it apartheid, imbuing Zionism with a number of sort of evil qualities, which is actually simply an extension of the way anti-Semitism has always played out across history, which is that Jews, and in this case, rather than individual Jews, the Jewish collective is actually being imbued with this concept of being somehow evil or malevolent or sort of morally corrupt. And so that's the distortion of Zionism by the anti-Zionists.
Now, I talked about the increase in the number of hate crimes against Jews in Canada. And so I think that's something we need to think about when we respond to these claims. It's not anti Semitism, it's anti Zionism. When you look at how much hate crimes have actually increased since violent acts against synagogues, against Jewish day schools, anti Semitic vandalism that is either without a pretext of anti Zionism, clear anti Semitic conduct. Uh, I mean, we should be able to see through this. Richard, maybe you could tell me about what we know about the increase in hate against Jews. I cited a few specifics, some of these incidents that we've seen. Maybe you could add a little more color to that.
Well, I'll say two things. One is a Jewish Canadian is 25 times more likely to be the target of a hate crime than any other Canadian. And it's not a question of victimhood Olympics. Those are statistics from Statistics Canada. But we need to remember that one is those numbers are probably underreported. And two, whereas it might not always go up to the level of crime, let me tell you current examples of what it means for people. It means that people do not want to walk around with their kippah on because they're afraid to be attacked or to be spit on or to be yelled at. So people hiding the Star of David that they might be wearing around their necks. It's school children hearing "Death to the Jews" in front of their schools, as we saw in Montreal. It is people not wanting to go to synagogue anymore because they're worried that their synagogue might be attacked, or it's the person calling a Jewish Federation saying, "I know there's this Israeli singer coming for an event, for a fundraising event, for a charity, am I going to be secure? Can I live? And I guess the question is, people are asking, can we as Canadian Jews, as members of this society that is Canada, are asking themselves if they can fully live as full Jews. And that goes way beyond crime numbers. It is a fundamental, I guess I'm saying that that the promise of Canada is being broken,
Mhm.
and until and unless authorities step up, and until and unless Canadian society as a
We
whole
yeah.
steps up,
We've got to go to
this will
break, but
continue.
we've got to go to break, but we'll be right back.